All right, everybody. Greg Pruitt here with Idaho Dispatch, and I am sitting with Representative Julie Yamamoto. And so, first, if you can kind of let people know which party you're with, which district you are from, and what area of the state your district covers.
I'm a constitutional Republican, very conservative, and I represent District 10, which is largely Caldwell, but goes as far as in some of Nampa and all the way up to Middleton. So rather large area.
Okay, so this is your very first legislative session. So, can you explain to people who, maybe don't follow politics or have not been a legislator before, what is that feeling like the very first day of session? What's going through your mind? And you've kind of had some prep classes, but what are you feeling right now?
I was glad to have those preparatory classes, and I do know that so much of it's just going to be on the job learning, but I think that the best advice that I was given is to find those people who you trust. And how do you trust them? You've looked at how they've voted on legislation in the past, and then those are the folks that you go to and you talk to about, okay, this is what the bill says, but what is really behind it, so that you're digging down a little deeper. What I'm coming to find is how important even one word can be, must or shall, and that's changed over time. Who knew? I thought pretty much they were the same. So that was good to know, and I think that that's my best advice, is to make sure that I'm reading what is coming before us, but make sure that I'm doing the background homework that needs to be done with the people that you trust to give you good advice.
Okay. And so you're obviously coming into a brand new legislative session, one with which seems to have kind of some tension, with coronavirus and kind of the stuff from the national level. So what is your goal as a new legislator? What do you hope to accomplish as a legislative body? And is there anything personally that you hope to help work on in your first session?
So for one thing, I've heard that some are calling for an abbreviated session, and my feeling is that we need to take however long it takes to get the people's work done. And I promised some things when I ran. And if you're going to make run-on campaigns such as to lower property tax, to support Second Amendment rights, and pro-life, then you probably need to be getting the business done. So one of the things, and education is near and dear to my heart, and so there's a bill that Representative Kirby is going to be presenting, and it's quite possible that I will co-sponsor it. I think there are a lot of good things in it. One of those things being that it gives parents a voice, more of a voice in a committee that will be oversight of what's going on in education. I think sometimes parents get left out of that, or we feel like that because that we have lay people who are on school boards, that is their voice, but there still needs to be the voice of parents who have students in schools, and it needs to be representation from all around the state, not just in some areas. And so that was one of the things that I asked, is that they consider strongly encouraging a wider, a more diverse group of parents in particular that are part of that oversight group. Also, possibly a heartbeat bill. The bill that they passed last year, David Ripley with Idaho Chooses Life, said it's the gold standard, and I agree, from conception, but at this moment it's not saving even one child from life. So the heartbeat bill at least would allow us to be able to start saving little lives now. So that would be another thing. And then the property taxes. We said we were going to do something about that, and not just a shift. So we've got to be rolling up our sleeves and listening to cities and counties, and we all need to work together, because I live in a city, I live in the county, and I live in the state. So when we fight, we're fighting ourselves. So how do we get something passed that allows those necessary services that people have come to expect, and to the degree that they expect it, but not put us further into asking for more money?
Yeah, and you live in Canyon County, which has the highest property taxes in the state. What do you think is the main problem, or is there one main problem that is causing that?
There isn't one main problem. I think that's the problem, is that there are so many pieces to it. And as I've been talking to Senator Rice, that committee, the interim committee that they put into effect, they are seeing that there are so many moving parts that really is the issue. So how do you get all of the players into the table and talking about the same thing? How do we have transparency in how that money is actually being spent, and how do we do something that takes care of whatever the needs are in, say, Canyon County, but then doesn't do something detrimental to a Kootenai County or boundary, because we're not all the same, and what we're facing is not all the same, and so one size won't fit all. So that's going to be our task, is to cut through all of that and try to figure out how does everybody, what is the fair share, and then how do we see to it that everybody does it. And in particular, my thing is, how do we not tax senior citizens out of their homes, and or make it so that first-time buyers can't afford to get one.
Okay. All right. Anything else you would like to add to either the citizens of Idaho or to your constituents directly on 2020?
What I would say is that I know we are in a time of unrest, but in some ways I think, great, it is time. It is time for patriots. We've got to stand up, and we've got to be willing to do what we need to do. And I'm not calling for insurrection or, a call to necessarily arms, but we do need to protect, in particular, our Second Amendment right, because all the other ones hinge upon it. And I'm telling you, if you think that they're strong, the laws are strong enough, we have got to protect and defend that above all, because once we lose that, the republic truly is lost.